Good. Hello, Joseph Curry here. Welcome to my storybook. Today, the part 7 in this book called How to Beat the Bully Without Even Trying. How to Beat the Bully Without Really Trying. It's the good book that we had. Yesterday, I have read chapter 21 through 22. Today, we'll be doing the chapter 23 through to 26. Let's begin in this book. Chapter 23. A particular sense of doubt. I was exhausted Monday morning, and my feet still hurt from pounding the Manhattan pyramid, but I felt great. I was back in Garrettsville, where I was popular at school, where Jessica seems to like me as much as I like her, and where I have made so many friends. Best of all, summer was only a month away. As I walked to school that morning, I looked out the window thinking that things had never been better. Little did I guess that someone even more frightening than Giles and old Toby or Walker was about to my turn was about to turn my life upside down for the rest of the school year. Walking in the hallway before class, I was busy until the fellows of my adventures in New York when Rusty interrupted. I still hadn't told you the big news, Rusty. Close your mouth. It was Miss Lunsford shouting at us. And, Ronnie, she continued, I don't think there's anything special about playing hot hooky from school so you can run around at Kitty. Evidently, she had been spiraling on our conversation as we stood in the crowded hallway. She glanced up and waved her hand. Miss Fremont, Mr. Fremont, can I have water, please? Yes, Mrs. Lunsford. What can I do for you? Ronnie, she snapped. Come over here. I walked past the line of students in the hall and stood before the two of them. Miss Lunsford's eyes twinkled slightly before she began. Mr. Fremont, it has just come to my attention that Mr. Redbone here was asked invited to go on vacation. I thought you all to know about it, since you've been trying to enforce a strict attention punctually. Mr. Fremont sighed and looked like he was upset that he had to deal with this. Mr. Lunsford is right, Ronnie. Attending as it is an issue. Mrs. Lunsford interrupted. What do you intend to do, Mr. Fremont? He looked down at me and shook his head. You know, Ronnie, we just got over the basketball incident with Mrs. Willem. Again, Lunsford interrupted. Mr. Fremont on the phone, his mother and said he had Leonidas. She lied to me. I wish you had Leonidas. Leonidas. You know what? My mom is bored. It just came out. I didn't like anyone calling my mom Laura. Unacceptable, Ronnie. Mr. Fremont yelled. It was the first time I had seen him mad like that, and I knew I was in for it. Go to my office right now. He turned and stormed off towards the lobby. Mr. Lunsford gave me a stickling shrimp as she lied to the class towards room 217. Room 217. That was done, Ronnie, Jessica whispered as she walked by. Now you probably miss all the fun and any of the events coming in. Jessica, Miss Lunsford hollered. Jessica didn't look up to really. She just tucking her head down and hightailing it, leaving me alone. Mr. Fibbertop was swirling in his chair, looking back at his picture of Tom Silver. When I came in, he turned around and had a stern look on his face. Whitey, you should know, Bill. You must be respectful to your adults. You crossed the line and didn't it right in front of me. I'm sorry, Mr. Fibbertop. Sometimes my mind can't act on its own. Yes, well, a big mouth gets you into trouble. And before we discuss what you said, we should talk about your little vacation. There's plenty of time in the summer to go away. It's not acceptable to just pick up, pretend you're sick, and shoot off. Knowing, I know, is an example, but I had a chance to visit my great aunt in New York. My great aunt in New York. She bought tickets for me and some friends to see the Mets at City Field. Certainly, he was on his feet, percolating and leaning over the desk. You saw the Mets? Yep, it was awesome. And I kind of got you a souvenir, souvenir. He tried to keep a straight face, but I noticed a faint smile begin to appear. I got you this. I reached into my jacket pocket and flipping him the baseball. He caught it, examined it, and fell back in his seat with a gasp. His hands began shaking. Then I noticed his eyes start to tear up. He opened his mouth to speak, but could from no words. Finally, finally, after hopping a ventilator for a bit, he cleared his throat and read. He cleared his throat and read. To my greatest fan, Mr. Flamertop, all the best, Ton Silver. I knew you would like it. I told him, but I'm sorry I had to give it to you today. I mean, after getting you mad and everything else, I really am sorry for marching off like that in the hallway. Well, Wiley, I know these things happen, he said, regaining a bit of his composure. Regaining a bit of his composure, and I know you feel bad. Let me think about punishment right now. Thought I had to address the school regardless field day. I think you like what you hear, despite today's unfortunately incident. I made a decision last week that involves you, and I ain't going to stick it to it. Now hurry back to home room. And Ronnie? Yes, Mr. Freeman. Was Tom Silver nice? Did you tell him about me? He did motions eating cannonball. Mr. Freeman, a secretary called from the door. The announcements. Oh, quite so. Now, where was I? I walked into class and sat down at my desk. Seeing me, Miss Lunsford flashing a trisk round. Ronnie, I just finished telling the class that next Friday is field day, and that participation is a privilege. Not everyone needs to participate. She was a fish, only with the knowledge that she'll finally gotten me, and darkly enjoying the moment. She drilled a sharp pencil around between her fingers. I think on field day when you're sitting in the principal's office, it will be a good time for you to write an essay about responsibility. She was sure Mr. Fimertop had suspended me from particular. The next thing I heard was his voice on the loudspeaker. Good morning, Bob. What a glorious morning. Mrs. Fimertop started. Mrs. Lunsford stared at the speaker with a smile as he continued. I want to make a few announcements before the morning plagues. As most of you already know, next Friday is field day. The school will be divided by class into two teams, white and blue. The following class are on the white team. You will off a list. We were on the blue team. Then he continued. This year we had special treat for one class of the written team on the winning team. This year is Miss Darling class for the white and Miss Lundskron for the blue. The winner of the field day will be going to Super Advancing in Instrument Park. The class enrolled into the chair. I wasn't really sure what Super Advancing was, but I noticed Jessica was clapping and Wesley was spectacular jumping to the ceiling. Ronnie, that's the big news I've been trying to tell you. My mind's on the PTA field day commitment. And Wesley, Miss Lunchcrunch cut in. I'm sorry to break this to you, but the way Miss Flibbertot punishes unwilling students late in the year, is my making them sit in his office for field day. It's a shame, but it means that this is why he just learned for himself. The fake sorrow in her voice was not easier as if he can't participate, then he can't be on the winning team, which means no super adventure for him. Russell slumped down in his chair, and Jessica's eyes looked red. Toby, however, looked like he just won the laurel jackpot. One morning then, Miss Fribbertot's voice crackled above us. I forgot to announce this year's Harmony Field Day captains for the blue team, the one leading in the squad. I had selected Bobbles newest star Popolo. Whitey, rap on, ready to go, Whitey. The white captain. I couldn't hear Miss Fribbertot continue because my class was shouting and jumping up and down. Mrs. Longcroft face torn as red as an apple, and the pencil in her hand snapped in half, as if in a trace. She turned and gazed out the window. One side, the one side of her, turned her face and up and down. She was watching it to herself. Now, almost like she was talking to someone on the other side of the window plane. Watching twirl his finger by the side of his head. What happened? Next was just what happened. What happened next? She was watching out to herself now, almost like she was talking to someone on the other side of the window plane. Wesley twirled his finger by the side of his head. What happened next was just as strange all at once. Mrs. Lunchcrump relaxed. She became calm and settled, but as she turned back to class, I saw a brazen glimmering in her eye, one I never witnessed before. Children, take out your math books. Open them to page 372. Her voice was softer than usual, a welcome break to the rest of the class, but I wasn't so sure. For most of the morning she remained quiet, sitting at her desk, gripping in a tiny spot over and over again. Finally, the clock hit 12:30, lunchtime. We lined up as usual, but instead of leading us down the corridor, Mrs. Lunchcrump called across the hall. Miss Darling, will you mind walking my class down to the cafeteria with Lois? I need a few moments to congratulate my class new field day captain. No problem. Miss Darling replied sweetly. Well done, Whitey. You must be very proud of him. Miss Lunchcrunch. Oh, oh, Pa isn't the wall for it. She answered, smiling. Wildly, Miss Darling nodded and led the class away. For a moment, we watched the lines disappear around the band in the hall. Let's step inside, shall we? I walked back in, feeling apocalyptic sincerely, worse than all the other scents I dealt and experiences so often in my life. Close the door, breathed Whitey. I glimmered but did what she asked. She had returned to her desk, and while she was still smiling, it did nothing to calm my senses. Destiny. She reminded me of a vampire, happy that she had a long, sweet victim all to herself. Come closer, I won't bite. My heart pounding in my chest. I just wanted to congratulate you. I realized that Mr. Filbertot in her infinite version has best a novel on you. Not such a big deal to you, though, right? You seen capital so many wonderful things, like rapping on instant principle one little finger. Her voice dripping with sandal, flowing out door perfectly glenfield and evil real. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had enjoyed it all because as of now, everything good in your life ends. I out the door. Oh no, she continued. Warning, I won't say warning won't save you, Whitey. You're what is known as a bad scene. Most of the fools around here don't see it, but I do. And do you know what I do when I find a bad scene? She moved a step closer. I opened my mouth, but was too scared to say anything. What? No smart aloud. Remark. I'm disappointed in you. She was traveling with something silver in her hand that looked like scissors. I'm going to enjoy this, she muttered. I got ready to jump out of the window. I'm going to enjoy this last month of school, she continued. I will be sorry each and every day. The scissors flashed in the light, and I realized it was just a silver pen. But my feeling rose away as she left another step closer. Finally, she leaned right over me. Now get out. Go have a nice lunch, Captain. Chapter 24. Field Day. I was crying all day, head swimming with nightmares or mains. It wasn't until well after school that my heart raced slowly to below a million and my brain could clearly pay attention to the outside world. I can't believe Filbertot made you captain after what you said to Lunchcrunch, was he was saying as we walked through the neighborhood with a bunch of friends. I keep flashing back to that look on her face. Princess, priceless. The best part, though, is is that what you as captain. We can't lose, huh? I didn't like the sound of that. We had to win. Slim added. Why? Gray asked, super advancing. Slim leered in his face. I'm not worried, though. What's the concern? We can't lose. They is like lightning fast. And Wiley, well, he's writing rap on. It's going to be an awesome and super adventure. Besides the regular costume, they built a new one. Destination Depth. I didn't want to hear any more. First of all, I hate roller coasters. But it wasn't just that. Half the school was expecting me to lead them to victory. Meanwhile, every time I held a key position during an athletic event, I looked and lost it for my team. Just last year back in New York, I tripped right before the finish line on the 100-yard dash. Thank God they was running it at Bobby's field day, and not me. The 100-yard dash was worth the most points. Chicken legs McGraw is on a white team, and he's real fast. Gray was pointing out. Rusty smiled. True, but next to Dave, he looks like a slug. We continued walking towards the old abandoned school near the McDucks. I realized that the pressure was squashing on Dave and not me. I began to relax a little until the hairs on the back of my neck suddenly arose. Something felt utterly wrong. I glanced behind us, and where car was inches along, keeping pace. I looked at the driver. She wore a scarf and had big sunglasses. Something about her nose looked familiar, but I couldn't be sure. Then the car drove up below a tree and the bright glare on the windshield disappeared, revealing another woman sitting in the passenger seat. It was Miss Lunchcrunch following me, just as I was about to yell. The car sped off. What's what's with that guy? Bryson asked, pointing at the car. That was no guy. It was Mrs. Lunchcrunch, and I think Lon knows might have been with her. Ha ha! Nice one, Whitey. Whitey, Rusty laughed, slapping in my back. No, I'm serious. She was. Always kidding this guy. I didn't say any more. They wouldn't have believed me. Heck, I'm not sure I believe it. What was it hard? Was it hard? Was it hard? I felt just all over, made an excuse to leave, and went straight home. Almost before I knew it, field day arrived. I got dressed that morning and put on a blue t-shirt. Besides a few old knowing looks, Mrs. Lunchcrunch haven't done anything else, and I imposes today were only the mind thrill of having to lead half the school to victory. My mom wants me good luck. My mom wishes me good luck as I headed towards the door. Penny wasn't quite as genius. I hope you don't mess up like a new lord, she teased. Penny, my mother scolded. Wish your brother good luck. Okay, good luck trying not to mess up. With those words of encouragement, I said goodbye and walked to the bus stop. I heard the deep noise of the bus engines before I saw the feeling little go. As it approaches, it seemed louder than usual, and when I climbed aboard, I realized that the racket wasn't from the engine alone. The stewards were shouting. Every kid in blue was chanting, Wad, Wad, Wad. Kids on the white team eyed me nearly, but said nothing. With each cheer, a knot in my stomach twist. We walked from the bus into the cafeteria, with Mrs. Lunchcrunch dressing in green. Pick us up. I noticed Miss Dowling was in a white tank top, no blue. Mrs. Lunchcrunch? Russian asked. Her score, even quit to show thoughts her wrinkles, grew deeper as she bellowed. Keep that mouth shut if you know what's good for you. Teachers should be imperative. I work for all students to do their best, and it doesn't matter when class is their front. Then she knows me standing nearby. And besides, Rusty, I will worry about more about your captain let you down than the color of my clothing. How did she know about my secret fear? I almost like she was a witch. She was a witch who could read my mind. This was supposed to be Barbara's 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 intimidator, not Hogwarts. I was happy when we finally lined up and headed out to the field. Caroline, her arms folded across her chest, came out to me and demanded, "Okay, Captain, get to work." Did she think I'll be talking or help the school by myself? Most of the events were invented our races, and our captain didn't really do much more than anyone else. I do have point I do have pointed this out to her, but people started chanting "Wine" again. For a while it looked like my nervousness was unfounded, with the accepting of the excessive course. When Slim got stuck in a towel, we won every morning event, and it was during the class versus class battle of captain the flag that Rusty ran by saying, we had won. All we have to do now is watch. They win the $100 dance this afternoon. We can lose the tug of war a little and still win. I nodded coolly, but I exhausted. One giant slow relief. The worst all air got caught in my throat. However, as the scene unfolded before my dead eyes, they did spin rude during the capture the flag and ran by a white tagger. But he hadn't noticed Josh slouching towards him from his blind side. Josh clearly didn't care about the score in the game. He was going in well loudly on his shoulder. They saw him, but it was too late. He and Josh collided with a sickening smack. They crashed into the ground in a heap and didn't get up. Our team stood in shock, watching Dave on the ground, holding his ankle. I can almost hear the roller coaster all the way. Josh moaning, walking off the field to the wall table. I didn't say anything. One of my friends was on the ground crying. We hovered around him and soon as Khan, smoothing tongue, arrived. "Stop that bowler, Rusty." Mrs. Lunchcrunch snapped. "What do you heart? Why are you crying?" Jessica talked to her. "These actually doubt the one heart," Mrs. Lunchcrunch. Dave, who was clearly in pain, sat with grimly teeth closing. Rusty, who was stretching on the ground, shouting, "Why? Why? Why?" "Zip it, Rusty," Mrs. Lunchcrunch barked, "or I give you a reason to cry." Then she stared down at Dave. "You have to go to the doors. It seems your field day will end clearly. It seems your field day will end early." For a moment she's looking slightly compassionate, seeing me shouting that, Don't stay there, grovelly. Line out to go inside. We have lunch. But before that, we need to go over the homework assignments from Tuesday. All class was sober walking in. We sat down and Mrs. Lunchcrunch handed out easily as we had written. After returning every paper but mine, she stood over my desk and whispered, "Test, test." Under her breath, "What do you that mean?" She walked to the head of the class. I raised my hand. That's funny. Uh, you didn't give me back my paper. That's because you never handed one yet. I had given you an incomplete on the assignment. Her eyes were glaring and looking straight into mine. But Mrs. Loscront, I did hand it in. Her white eye began to twitch. Are you calling me a liar? Well, no, but I definitely award the assignment, and I'm pretty sure I'm turning it in. Certainly, she had me doubting myself. Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to fail if I gave you another incomplete. I heard some kids shocker, and I didn't like it one bit. Now, that was done. Not handling any little paper, Jessica motioned as we returned outside for the races. And I did. Miss Lonscront must have lost it. Maybe on purpose. Oh, come on, Whining. She'd never do that. She did, though. Ever since Flibbertop made me captain, she's been out to get me. She really. I was called off by Keller and our friends. Who we gathering around? What are we going to do now, Captain? Keller asked. Yeah, what's the plan? Samantha joined in. Chicken legs, Miss Grail. We'll win it for then now, and we'll never go to get to super advancing. Is there anyone in our class who can beat him? There is, Rusty Clint calmly in answer. Oh good, I thought, until I heard him continue. Why, it's the captain. You'll have to beat him. They all look relieved, but I instantly remember my past winning events. Something always seemed to go on. I couldn't be counting on to win. Ronnie, go ask. You're all right. Of course he is, Rusty answered. I had a plan, and the next it had hit me just as Grace snapped me out of my trip down Minister Lane. You see, he has a what? Wait, Rusty asked. We already know you're going to win the whole $100 dash for us. Why do we need a plan? You said be close, an example. We're ahead, ready to win the tug of war for sure. And I'm done the match. We just had to win one of the last two events to win Field Day. That's my captain, Jessica said. Wiley, I had never doubted you, Weston explained, but there's no way we can beat Dylan's class in a tug of war. They try us outside, especially with Josh putting Oakenham in. Shh, shh, shh. Keep it down. Toby is right over there, unless you want Josh to know my plan. Don't let him hear what we're saying. Another one, come over here. All right, they're crowding in. Well, you know what happens if we let go of the rope at the same time? I asked. Yeah, Carolyn said. They'll go flying, but the rope will go with them and they'll win. No, Carolyn, they won't win. I've been looking at how far the rope must travel for it to cross the line for the victory. If they all fail, they'll pull it. But it won't be annoying the line. We just pick it up and link it back. They'll be so short. Most of them will let go, and those who don't will go for a little while. After a few more interpretations, my blue team knew what to do. As the field day competitions resumed, the kids in white were laughing and smiling with day out of the way. They were sure they were hiding into super advancing. Only with my plan. I wasn't sweating it. We left the dead brown book. I was dull from the front behind Rusty and was an unspotted Toby. Jessica was right behind me and Slim was in the back with Greg. Miss Darling's cries dropped the smiles and looked at Russ with grum, determined faces. I could see Josh red at the end. Uncle Holman, he looked ready to pull us over all by himself. As I also noticed that Mrs. Lunchcront had gone over to watch the big event. When I blew the whistle, began pulling, but not until then. Mr. Barr, the John teaser, announcing. Many of us already lacking in a bit. The work was tough. I felt alive and ready. The whistle blurred and the work launched forward. I could feel it sigh a bit in my hands, and my feet began to give away. I wanted to wait and cover those seconds, but we were being pulled hard, and I didn't think we could last. Now, I shouted. Everyone in our class, except Toby, let go of the rope. The result was immediate and impressive. Toby, still holding on, went flying through the air. The white shirts went down fast and hard. I held loud off from many of them, and, true to my prediction, the rope hadn't gone far enough. Now I shouted again. We all grabbed the rope and linked. Most of the Miss Darling's class had let go, and it was easier as pie to pull it back over our line. We all share. We have one field day, and we are so busy dancing around, yelling that it took a few minutes to hear Miss Lunchcrot shrieking above the commotion. Gradually, we stopped shouting and stood silent, looking at her. Letting go of the rope is not allowed in the tall war. She was shouting, making sure Mr. Ball and two other students in particular can hear. It's dangerous, Whitey. I danced heard you yell now right before the rope went flying. This was all your idea, and now look what you did. I hope Josh and Toby wasn't hurt by your actions. At this, I look over at the white team. That was sad. That was a sad sight. A lost power bodies, with one boy buried at the bottom. With their own forces, they must have fell backwards onto Josh. I could see his face, full of pain, raised in embarrassment. His eyeballs were filming red and starting my way. Then I saw another walking into sight. Toby had floated good 10 feet and landing in a puddle, in a warm puddle left over from last week's rain. He, too, was glaring directly at me, dog, and blind, searing face. Was this some kind of joke on me and Josh? He yelled. My dumb plan had re-weakening the beast. Josh was pulling people up him, looking ready to kill someone. Toby was walking over to him, grabbing by a strong sense of panic. I almost didn't hear what Mr. Barr had. Thank you, Miss Lunchcront, for being such an objective witness. But I'm afraid that means your class is disqualified in the tug of war. The white teen cheered, rushing threw himself to the ground in dismay. Most of my classmates couldn't believe that their own teacher had ruined it for them. But they also gave me dirty looks, blaming me for loss. Miss Lunchcrunch started in my direction and suddenly stuck out her tongue. Look, I screamed, but it was too late. She had turned around. Colonel Moulton, nice going, Captain. A group of downcast blue shirts running off, Clinton giving me the cold shoulder. Slim said, "Don't feel bad. Once you win the $100 dance, they'll forgive you." I wandered over to the starting line, no longer worrying about losing the tug of war or falling at Canton or even Miss Lunchcrunch. What had seemed important just moments ago was nothing now. I had bigger problems. Toby was talking to Josh, and pointing at me. Josh turned my way. All he needed was horns, and he knew he would have looked like a bull all right. He would look like a bull ready to charge. And that's just what he did. With a surge yell, Josh flung Toby to the side and began running straight at me. I looked around. There was only one person close to me. It was Miss Lunchcrunch, and believe it or not, I was relieved to see her. "Miss Lunchcrunch, look, Josh is running this way. He's going to kill me." "Miss Lunchcrunch." She heard me. She didn't respond. I looked up at her and shook just as Mr. Ball fired the pistol to start the race. Instead of waiting around for Josh to trample on me, I took off running. I ran like my life depended on it, which is probably it did. I went faster than I ever had before. My painkiller, color, field driving one was so fast that I escaped Josh and dozens other competition, including chicken leg Mr. Grill. At the other side of the lodge, I was still running on instinct, like a rabbit escaping a fox, and I didn't really understand why I was met by a right whalebone hitting me in the chest, and why Mr. Fibbertot was raising my hand into the air, and why Mr. Ball was yelling "Blue wins," and why Mr. Lunchcrunch was pulling out clumps of hair, and why ever blue shag students was actually to me and chilling. I had one field day without even knowing it. Chapter 25. An overhauling of Pollock. As the crowd swarmed around me, Roger came running up and shook me by the shoulders. "You did it, Ronnie. I know you would." Mr. Fibbertar was clapping. Jessica was smiling. The noise wasn't defining. I was being torn, grabbing and pouncing. I lost, I mean, Lost in the craziest excitement. I spun around with a dumb smile on my face. "Oh boy," I mumbled, smile faded. I had turned right into Josh. "Dan," he smiled as escorted a big rum. "Wow, could this really be?" It seems that even he was excited about my great run. Before I knew it was his stuck out of his hand to shake mine. That was super. That was super. I ran out and shook it, and a bell trap snapped shut on my fingers. I looked down and saw it was actually John's hand, crushing mine. He pulled me in close. "I'll get you along sooner or later," he whispered, and when I do, "you're dead." He leaned back, clicked his mouth back on, and letting go of my paw, troubled my hand disappeared into the crowd. I didn't know how much longer I could keep up the fake Superman thing, but I really didn't have a choice at this point. "That was nice of him to congratulate you," Red said from behind me. "Yeah, real nice." I choked, walking off. Before I got too far, Jessica met me. That was the most incredible one I ever seen. I really can't believe some of the things you did. She smiled at me. That makes two of us, I thought. You know, she added more shiny. Next Friday is the big end of the jail dance. I decided to make use of my hero status while it lasts. Jessica, I know I'll see you now, but I can't take you to the dance. Like officially. Officially, she smiled. Do you mean like a date? Luckily, my face was still red from the $100 dance. She continued to see me blush as I answered. Yes, I date. I date. Okay, you can pick me up around 7. Whitey, are you listening? Miss Longcront was staring at me and shaking at her fist in the air. Suddenly, Mr. Filbertot called out to her, Ah, the raised fist of trumpet. She jumped like a little kid caught doing something wrong. I turned back in time to see Caroline dragging Jessica off somewhere. But it didn't matter. I had asked Jessica to dance, and she had actually said yes. I was consuming by missing emotions. Things were also with Jessica, and my usual group of friends loved me all the more. On the other hand, my worst enemies were more fired up than ever. There were 2 weeks left till the end of the year, and there'll be dangerous weeks. I had to be extra careful. I had to be extra careful. Keep my eye wide open. I took my first precautions on Monday morning, standing in front of the class, making sure I had plenty of witnesses, and announcing, I am now handing in my book report. It is on Stormbreaker by Anthony Hundsworth. I laid it down on Miss Lunchcrunch's desk. Do you think you could handle your sentiment without commitment? Despite her little ziggle, I couldn't risk any more missing excitements, and walked straight back to my desk. I noticed how eyeing the report in a straight way. Then she looked up at me, smiled, and started. This is going to be a glorious week. Can't you feel it? Can't you just feel it? I felt something all right. Shivers down my spine, my mind racing, trying to figure out what she had in store for me. Concerned about Miss Lunchcrunch's next move swept through my brain the rest of the morning. Even later when we walked down to lunch, I kept my eye on her, ready for everything. Arriving at the cafeteria, I sat down with the boys and got ready to eat, until I realized I had forgotten while on my lunch. It was in the last play I wanted to return home. Where's Lord Lance? Slammy asked. He usually finished everything left by the rest of us, and was probably wondering about my dessert. I forgot it in the classroom. Well, go get it. I'm not really hungry. I lied, my stomach squalling. Hey, Miss Costa, Miss Costa, can Riley get his lunch from class? Slim called to the outside to the eye and who had already replaced Long Nose. She was very nice and we rushed over. Absolutely. Riley, go get it. I didn't want to go. Long Nose would have told me no. For once, I missed her nastiness. Go on, Slim prodded. Relaxedly, I walked out and continued down the hall. Maybe Miss Lunchgrunt wouldn't be there. I walked extra quiet, and when I got to the room, I'm peering through the open door. The classroom was empty. Quickly, I darted into the closet, rifling through my backpack, and grabbed the lunch. This has been an exciting little talk. Joshua, a voice sounded by the classroom door. Frightening, I moved farther into the closet. You understand what to do? Yeah, Josh answered. It's not accident. Now get back to the cafeteria. Josh walked away, but Miss Lunchcrump walked in and sat down behind her desk. I shuddered to think what the two of them had been talking about. It also occurs to it also occurs to me. I was stuck in the closet. Maybe if I just hide for a minute, chill. Who's back there? I can see your aunt. Her voice boomed out across the classroom. I had no choice but to stick my head out. She stood up from her desk, and I noticed that real twitch returned to her face. You sure had known it was you. How much do you hear? Here, here. I, uh, I just got, uh, being that you are a popular loud, one way means you will be better at it. She was now walking towards me. Instinctively, I instantly towards the door. It's really no matter. Thought it would be or evening to remember. Don't you agree? What was she thinking or talking? What was she talking about? She definitely thought I had her more than I did. Yeah, it even to remember. I repeatedly, still inching away. Well, she asked, hmm, well, wait, well, what? Hmm, are you going to go eat your lunch? Yes, well, away. And with that, I bawled out of class, more confused and worried than ever. That afternoon, I tried desperately. That afternoon, I tried desperately to figure out what she had in store for me. My friends were no help whatsoever. When I tried to explain that Miss Lunchcrot was part of something evil, they laughed and told me I read too many scary books. I didn't say anything, but the truth is that I don't ever read scary books. I had enough fears in the real world to keep me busy, like having a crazy lady partner me against me. Or was she? Maybe this whole thing with Miss Lunchcrot was in my mind, waiting to be alone to show things out. I left my career I left my Curfew happy friends at the bus stop and took the long cart back home. After a few blocks I felt the now familiar presence of a car creeping along through pace behind me. My mouth ran dry and I couldn't breathe. Maybe I was amazing. I gave a quick glance over my shoulder and saw a red car, not darling to wait and see who or what was driving. I took off, the car picking it up speedily behind me. That was it. I was alone this time and running for my life. I cut left across the front lawn and around the side of the house. I didn't slow down in the back lot, but just keep running right past a lady grinning and who barely managing. And hey, before I flipped myself over her chain like Francie, I took off across the green grass of someone else's backyard and slipping on a pile of dog dude. But didn't even have time to say luck. I blizzarded out into the front lawn and angling out into the wall, where I stood painting, looking all around me. Down the block, at the cross street, I thought I had the hood of the red car sticking out slightly from behind it hard. I was still catching my breath with the car storming suddenly lunging forward and turning in my direction. It was enough to get me warm moving again as I went through some woods that eventually to the back to the back of my house. I realized that everything had gone too far. Someone was going to get hurt, and that someone was me. My friends didn't believe it when I told them what Miss Lonscroft was doing. They assured me I was making it up a story and being silly. They assured me I was making them up a story and being silly. But this couldn't continue. I had to tell my parents. At least they would believe me. Close to my house, I sat down on an old slump to catch my breath, knowing I was about to get help from my mom and dad. I felt the first sense of relief in weeks. After a minute or two, I got up and faced the walk through the woods. I was almost smiling as I stood in the back door. Hey, Mom, where are you? I need to talk to you. I'm right in here, honey. Can't see who jumped, just popping over. Was it Russie? Aunt Ellen? I was in. Hello, Ronnie, said a feminine voice. My blood ran cold. Sitting there in my father's chair was Miss Lonscroft. Chapter 26. The Big Dance. Can you believe he's paying us a visit? My mom smiled, holding a pair of teacups in her hands. A scream tried to escape my mouth, but I locked my lips together. After greatly exhausting a deep breath, I intended to respond. A response, I couldn't say any more. Sit down, Whitey. Miss Lonscroft was just talking to me about the school deal. Don't look so painkiller. We're discussing good things. Miss Lonscroft, you were saying, yes, Miss Rathbone. You know, I think the wall of Lausanne, and I am so thankful that he moved here this year and joined my class. My mom, Benny, and I almost punk. Peanuts need to hear good news. Parents need to hear good news, too. You know, and that really is why I'm here. You need to know just how impressive I've been with your son. Ronnie, is that nice of Miss Lonscroft? He remains having an announced teacher. Ah, it's okay, Miss Wilbon. I don't like to put students on the spot. Oh, one more thing. You may know there's a dance this Friday night. My head was spinning, but when she mentioned the dance, my interest. That's what she had meant. When I overheard her saying. I even to remember. It was one thing I had been looking forward to most, and now my big night with Jessica will be ruined. My mom said, yes, I will about to dance in the PTA bulletin. Well, I know how shy writing can be. What? And both her aides were making any excuse to get out of the dance. But I really believe going to this dance will be doing wonders for his socialization. Then she turned and addressed me directly. Whitey, we will all be as so disappointed if we choose not to attend. Miss Lunsford, my mom began. I just want to thank you for this year. Whitey has done a great job adjustment to his new town and school, and I can see it's because of your hard work. Was this all really happening? Not all teachers I know will take time for her to busy discussing to make a postal stop and discussing a student's well-being. My well-being? The lady was busy in planning my execution. It's my pleasure, Miss Lonscroft replied, setting down the teacup and raising to shake my mom's hand. It never describes how lovely Lauren was, Whitey. Oh, and don't forget to dance Friday night. We'll be waiting for you. She turned her head so my mom couldn't see and gave me a little wink. We walked to the door. All of a sudden, the red car pulled up. Here's my ride now, Miss Lonscroft announced. My friend and I so enjoy driving on these late spring days. I'll see you tomorrow, Riley. The door closed and I watched her walk down the steps. Oh, Riley, you are truly blessed to have such a wonderful teacher, my mom said, walking into the kitchen. Mom, the woman's crazy. She, Riley. Miss Lonscroft is one of those special teachers. She may be demanding, but she's the type. She may be demanding, but she's the type of that can change a student's life forever. Now go what's up for dinner. Well, she was right about that. I had no doubt she'll be changing in my life. I just hope I'll be around to see how it turned out. I wish I could tell you more about the days leading up to the dance, but all wreck I was fixed on the dune surrounding Friday night. Jessica got more excited as it get closer, and I forgot to act the same. Only my dream come true had become a nightmare. By the time Friday rolled around, any excitement I felt about Jessica was squashed by the occasion even runs for Josh and Toby and Miss Lonscroft. The three were in Courthouse, and tonight was the night. That afternoon, I found myself at home, looking down in the mirror and thinking over my problems. My blind eyes staring back at me were red and frightened. I was angry with myself. Why are you such a chicken? I asked my reflection. Duh, my reflection screamed to answer. Josh is going to kill you tonight. Stay home and do something else. Read a book. You can even have tea party with your sister and her dolls. Just don't go to that dance. My reflection seemed to make sense, and my sister would sure love it. But then I got mad at the guy in the mirror. Didn't he realize Jessica was going to be at the dance and just wanted to? You can't kiss a girl if you're dead. My reflection answered. I had a point. But then again, if I didn't go tonight, I had to face Josh every Tuesday anyway. And what could Miss Lonscroft really do? There'd be lots of other adults around. Besides, the best looking, coolest girl in the grade was waiting to be my date. Maybe I was tougher than I give myself credit for. I took a long, hard look at my reflection and said, and finally, after weighing all the options, turned my back on the mirror. I strolled confidently out of the bathroom and down the hall to the top of the steps. Penny, I yelled, can't be in for tea. Just don't sit me next to Miss Puffdeal. Puffdeal. Yay! Penny yelled from the den. My mom, however, stepping out of her room and gave me a funny look. Ronnie, what are you doing? You need to be gathering and ready for the dance tonight. Mom, I don't think I'm going. I'm not feeling that great. She smiled and took me by the shoulder. I think I know what this is about. Do you? I asked, shocked. Yes. Honey, I know you're worried about dancing. Miss Lonscroft wanted me. You will probably be embarrassing to dance. Well, it's nothing to worry about. You'll do great. Now, come into the bathroom and let me fix your hair. Your father will drop you and Jessica off, and then you come back at the end to drive everyone home. But Mom, I don't think I want to. Mom, nothing. But Mom, nothing. I had to perfectly shop for you. These jeans will look the best. No. Maybe these colors. No, the jeans. Okay, shoes. You can't wear sneakers. Here, put on the black dress shoes. I looked down at the shoes she was referring to. They were black dressing and some super shiny. I could see my face reflecting in the granite surface. I looked disgusting. My Mom, I'm not wearing those. You bought them for the Miss Geller's son's wedding. So they're perfect. No, they're too hard and slippery. And I'll be the only one wearing shoes like those. I look like a fool. I'm whining. I'm whining. Nonsense. Now let's see about. I try to argue, but when my mom is focused on a task, there's no stopping her. She had me dressed, pressing, rubbing, and talking before I could blink. As my dad and I pulled out of the driveway, I looked back and saw my mom waving happily. My sister, walking with her teapot, wasn't stumbling. The dance was in the barber gym. The parents had their other way with streamers and ball balloons, and DJ had set up a booth at the far end. As Jessica and I entered, the DJ's big speaker were all the way in blasting the most recent hit song. Jessica joined the girls dancing down in front as I quickly looked around. No sign of Josh or Toby. Maybe they wasn't coming. That made sense. And dance didn't really seem like their kind of thing. And his weight left off my shoulder, even though Miss Lunchcront was there, talking to Miss Frivertot and Miss Darling, and she seemed very interested in me. I decided to join my friends. They were still unconscious, perhaps prey. Sure enough, Carol walked by and asked, "Wanna dance, Dave?" She giggled and then dragging my hopping friend into the middle of the guards, who I thought a ball unconscious was great and danced around him. "Nice shoes," Slim laughed, looking down at my feet. "Wasn't alien. Oh man, check those things out." I didn't respond. My mind had drifted elsewhere. It wasn't Josh or Toby or Miss Lunchcront that had grabbed my attention. It was a girl who looked better than ever. Her blonde hair glittering in the air as she walked my way. When she came up to me and grabbed my hand, I thought I might die. "You ready to dance?" Jessica asked. I nodded, feeling good all over. Looking back at my two godly friends, I winkle. I wink. Must be the shoes. We strode into the crowd and began dancing. I felt a little silly at first, especially with the lights reflecting off my goofy shoes. But after a few minutes, Jessica was the only one on my mind. She had on a blue dress that matches her eyes, and once or twice, her hair blew past my face. I could feel it graze my cheek, and I could smell her shampoo. We looked at each other through the flashing color lights and laughed crowd. She came close and said, "Let's get some soda." We passed through the doors and walked out to our table in the lobby, loading down with cups, soda bottles, and chips. Weston and Slim were them eating out of the Dorito bowl. Ignoring them, I filled our cups, one freezing up, and Jessica leaned down and drank off the floor. I was hurt in a tracing and didn't notice the change in the room. After a few moments, I saw that Wesley and Slim had stopped eating and was starting behind me. Despite having a brown soda mustache, there was nothing funny about Jessica's frightening expression. How could I have been so stupid? How could I have let my guard down? my brain kicking fully into a gale, and with so did my wiggling knees, bloating stomach, and every sweat gravity in my body. I turned around. Josh didn't waste any time smacking the drink out of my hand. Jessica let out a little screaming, with Toby laughing in treadmill. Pinkerton, I looked out toward the gym. If I yell, maybe a dog will help me. But I saw the doors closing and clicking shut. The one thing, a cargo or window pane. I saw what looked like Miss Lunchcroft walking away. They got me, and almost as it reading my mind, Josh said, "No one's saving Lou this time." He was right. There was no there was no one around. Jessica, slim and Weston stood frozen. Johns pulled back his right fist and fouled. I tried to jump back, but my fancy running shoes had no traction and flew out from underneath me. I let out a shot as I fell backward, feeling one of my hard, pointy shoes connect square with John's chin. Had his head snapped back and he barreled into a shock of Toby. As I hit the ground, I saw them smash into the table and watched the punch bowl land on top of them. Josh was dazed and Toby was under him, soaking in red punch. The whole fight lasted about 1 hour. Slim and Jessica grabbed me by the arms and helped me up. We were hurried back into the gym as some of the parents went running over to investigate the loud crash. We could just hear their angry yells before we slipped into the crowd. Too shaken to dance, we moved to the far concert to catch our breath. Rusty was the first talk to speak at this time. Ronnie, you never told us you knew Kauai. Well, I'm vulnerable. Snug ejaculated. Yeah, you yell just like Bruce Lee as you kick him. Snug then yelled high pitched quiet scream. What's out? Quiet down, guys, Jessica said. Ronnie might get into big trouble. She was still holding my arm. At the moment, we noticed the pink standing pail being let out of the guard of the gym by a couple of parents, and Mr. Fribbertop, both boys looked miserable. Josh stumbled along holding his chin, and Toby was limping. Weston and Slim went off to tell Dave and Keller what had just happened. Jessica remained by my side. Wani, I never knew someone could be so brave. Josh is so big and scary. I couldn't move, and you just handled it like it was nothing. You kicked him in the head. It was like a movie. You know, you're not only brave, but you're mine. But you're nice, funny, and kind. You forgot Coot, I joked. You are Coot, she said, smiling. At that very moment, the DJ dangling the lights and started playing a slower song. I looked over and noticed Rusty at the DJ's side. He gave me the thumbs up sign as Jessica and I began to dance. I somehow knew we were going to kiss. I closed my eyes, parking it up and lowering in. Her lips felt cold, saggy, and bony, not at all what I'd had done in about 4 months. I now opened my eyes and realized I was kissing the back of the Miss Lunchcrunch's hand. Well, I had known that at this dance. Jessica, go tell Kelly I want her to start training Dave around the room. Jessica and I stood, gazing at each other. Well along now, Jessica. She looked disappointed, but heading up into the crowd. As for Miss Lunchcrunch, she glaring at me long and hard before I opened her mouth. You are in the lobby and causing the whole commotion. I'll make sure that Mr. Firmatop punishes you this time for starting the fight. Oh, really? I asked. Oh, really? I asked. If you saw me there, how come you didn't do everything to start the fight? In fact, how come you closed the gym doors? And how come you didn't join the parents when they were running in? I'm sure Mr. Firmatron will have a lot of questions for you. Why you impertinent ill mirror? Why you impertinent ill mirror? Her head began to shake back and forth as she searches for the white word. She was ready to blow. Finally, still shaking and twitching it, she turned and hurried up just as my dad arrived to pick me up. Was that Miss Lunchbox? He asked. Lunchbox. I smiled. Well, she looks kind of barren. If you ask me, anyway, how was the dance? Great, I answered, taking one last look at Jessica across the gym. Definitely an evening to remember. That was chapter 23 through 26. Tomorrow, the final part 8 of this book called How to Beat the Bully Without Really Trying. We're starting chapter 27 to chapter 30, our final 3rd chapter. From then on, this is Joseph Crudup. I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, have a great one.